Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Yap-A-Doodle. This is just a little show where I talk about the stuff I've been drawing lately, and for today's episodes, I'm drawing the new starters from Pokemon Winds and Waves. So, Pokemon Presents came and went not too long ago, some cool stuff was shown off, and some more weird and questionable things occurred. But easily the highlight of the whole thing was the full-on confirmation of Generation 10 in Pokemon Winds and Waves. Next year. Which I won't complain about, considering Pokemon games getting more time in the oven can only be a good thing in my books. Though they did leave us with our first look at our next generation of starter Pokemon, and that's probably another reason why this video took so long to finally get out, is because I wanted my opinion of the three of them to settle, rather than just be my gut first impressions, as a fair few things have changed since that initial reveal. I was initially very iffy on Brout, which feels weird to say as most of the time the grass-type starters have been my favourite throughout the series. But at first just something about it wasn't clicking with the little fella. Maybe it looked a little bit too Angry Bird-esque, I'm not sure, but just something about them wasn't clicking in the way that previous grass-types had. Especially Rowlet, given the whole both being funny little bird guy starters. And then obviously the memes about them started coming out, and the way folks gave it this grouchy "I'll mess you up if you call me short" energy did very much endear me to him. Though of the three, I would say he's still my least favourite of the bunch, though not nearly as much as when it first announced, and hopefully its future evolutions will give it something to make me cling to it a little bit more. Much like how I've been previously very favourable to the grass types, I've usually been the opposite when it comes to the fire types, aside from a few examples like Torchic and Fuecoco. So it may come as a surprise to hear from me that I was immediately in love with Palm Bomb when I first saw him. I may not always be keen on the fire type starters, but I am an absolute sucker when it comes to the fire dogs in Pokemon. And Palm Bomb looking like this big puffball of energy that's just is going to do immediate things and just be a silly little guy immediately grabbed me, and I have not been able to let go ever since. I love him so much to the point I don't think even getting a potentially less good final evolution could stop me from picking him as my starter when the game eventually comes out. Though I said this, I have been burned by that in the past. As you can likely guess, Gekwa is sitting rather comfortably as my middle favourite of the trio. The water type starter usually ends up being second banana in my favourites of the trio unless your name is Squirtle, but I could definitely see Gekwa climbing up in time. Sure, it's another water lizard, but I feel it does enough to separate itself in terms of design and personality from Sobble compared to Brout. It gives vibe of it potentially being a water poison type for its final evolution, and I think that would be a really interesting combination to see. But I guess we're going to be waiting a while before we actively get to see. And that's about the long and short of my opinion of the starters. For the piece itself, I wanted to try and give the Mons some similar shading to their official artwork. Trying to replicate that watercolory brush for the shading is something I really like doing as an aesthetic. For the background, I wasn't really sure what to go with. I kind of like the idea of perhaps the winds and the waves circling around a Pokeball. So I went with that, going all sloshy with the waves and going a bit more pointy with the winds and having it have solid shading to give them a bit more of a distinction from one another. And I like to think it makes the piece come together really nicely. Don't know what else I can really say about any hopes for Winds and Waves, considering we don't really know a whole lot about the game. But with the name Winds and Waves and them obviously showing that you'll be able to travel underwater from the looks of things, I have to wonder if they'll allow us to explore the skies in some capacity, sort of an expanded version of when they let you fly around on Latios and Latias on Oras. That's something I've been wanting the Pokemon series to do for way too long, and I can only hope that's the case for this one. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please throw it a like and subscribe to stay updated on any further Yap-A-Doodles, or just any videos that I'm going to be working on this year, as that's kind of a goal that I have for this year. Have yourselves a fantastic day, and take care.